over to Dr. Naveen Gurusiddaiah, who is a PhD holder and qualified MBA with 18 years of working experience in different domains like IT, finance, sales, and marketing. And yes, he is actively involved in the corporate market development of Indian region for solutions and technologies of Microfocus. Currently heading the technical services at Microfocus India for all the product portfolios of CDMs, Ball and Novel Attachment, and Net IQ. So may I have him on the stage to give an overview of Microfocus technology. So over to you.
Thank you, Lucy. A very good introduction of mine, I guess. It did wake me up a bit and also puts me on a responsibility to keep everyone awake. One good news is that. Second good news is this is the last presentation of the day. Okay. So great. Esteemed partners, my dear colleagues, a very good evening. I'm glad that I have this opportunity to take you through as to what we are going to partner with, what technology we are going to partner with, right? What is it that we are going to take to market, right? So we know how partnership works, how serious Microfocus is about partners, how we would like to take them on a wave of success. We have got to learn all of that since afternoon, right? Everybody got glimpses of this message from Nitin, Raj, Rakshay, and Nishan. So what is it that we have to sell? Okay, trust me, this is going to be like a journey. Imagine you're traveling, you all took a journey today. Imagine that you have somebody who's along with you in the journey and telling you a nice story. That's what this session is going to be about. And if there are some expectations which are already going high, let me see if I can meet them. Okay, little bit of challenges what we have seen. Complexities have been there when technology took birth and even now, right? I'm from Bangalore, but many of people who are from other cities can relate. 20 years back, we had traffic signals. 10 years back, we had something which was called traffic signal, but it was something which was chaotic, right? That was the complexity what we had seen. Right now, in order to beat that complexity, we are getting grade separators, flyovers, so on and so forth, right? Similarly, IT industry also has been going through a lot of complexities. Earlier, we had one Internet Explorer, one version, and one OS, Windows OS, and one modem, which used to make a weird sound when it was connecting to the net. Many of you have it as a ringtone today, right? So that was the case. The complexity, what was the complexity? Internet connection not happening, right? But we have moved a lot beyond that. Today, earlier we had a single tier architecture, then it became a 2-tier. Now we have lost the idea of numbers. Now it's n-tier architecture. That's the complexities which we have been seeing since last 4 years, right? And now to beat all of it, we have the cloud. Cloud coming as a strategy, cloud coming as a different vertical for business, as a horizontal cutting across technologies. So what is that that makes it more complex as we speak and as we go by? Everybody has these 3 aims to be successful, right? That is, one is being competitive, being efficient, and being effective, right? So let's see how we can do it in a different scenarios, what Microfocus provides value, where we need to partner, right? So if we take, we are talking to a CIO, or we are talking to a CTO, or we are talking to an IT manager, or a testing head, a project head. All of these guys can be given one label as IT leaders, right? Each of them has key responsibilities which they have to balance it. On one side, they have time to market, new applications, new services, new technologies. On the other side, they have to take care of the security, the performance, the availability, all of that. So balancing becomes a very tricky art for them. They have to walk the tightrope. This is, I think most of you will agree that this is the challenge what those guys are facing. And in order to address to these guys, in order to see to it that we solve their problems in the areas where we excel, we take them on a journey, right? This, when I say going on a journey, is how we can cater to our customers with our technologies and make it successful, even more successful than what we have been making them. Okay. Mainframes. Let's touch upon it. As there were many slides which were done by Raj, and even Raksha had that slide. We are a 40-year-old company, and we are, I'm proud to say, we excel in mainframe solutions, right? So let's say if you have a customer who is into mainframe, so we are going to, whatever product portfolios what we have in Micro Focus, I'm going to take you through across all of them, what are the challenges and what are the solutions, right? So if there are mainframes, how is it that we can take a look at it? The challenges would be, they have a mainframe, right? Staff want it. The people who know to operate, run mainframes have retired. People coming in from fresh out of college, they do not know mainframes. Costs, yeah, MIPS, the rates which is being given for MIPS go on, even if they breathe in the mainframe room, they have to pay for the MIPS, right? So the costs are going up, and of course risk is always on the higher side. That brings in a lot of headache. People, as we speak, this is the challenge, how we can cater to this. DevOps is something which Nishan touched, right? See, there is, one is development of mainframe application, testing it, and then production, right? DevOps is development and testing, doing it outside mainframes. We have solutions for that, wherein the consumption of MIPS comes down and the cost also comes down. And when the customers are happy with that, then we take them onto production also. That's migration. So one is DevOps, if they want to see how it's going to work out, and we have had highly successful cases over these last 4 years on into big accounts as well, where people have taken the DevOps on from mainframes to Linux and Windows, and also production from mainframes to Linux and Windows. Of course, productivity increases, cost comes down because of consumption of less consumption of MIPS, and risk is always low, right? So that provides a very happy situation. So this is what we can cater to when you come across a customer who is into mainframes. I know that the frequency or the volume of customers is little less in India, but having said that, they're certainly there. So this is one area which you can certainly keep in mind. As soon as you hear mainframes, please remember we have a solution. Okay. I'm sure most of you have worked with PSUs, old companies, old banks, and government departments. In India, I'm talking purely about India. Many of them have COBOL applications, right? And they face challenges like these. Let's take a quick look as to what are the challenges faced by people who use COBOL application. This is a screen they have to look at when they log into Office every day, right? For us, it is Greek and Latin, but for them it is boring. COBOL, 30 years, 40 years, they have been doing the same thing and retiring, right? So only the geeks know how to code COBOL and create applications. When you try to hire, you have freshers, boys and girls coming out of college, who have done NIT, who have done IIHT, so on and so forth, learned Java, very good at .NET, C++, they learned in college only. You try to hire them, they'll say they wouldn't even know how is COBOL spelled, right? So hiring is always a difficulty. So that's just a joke I picked out. If you see anyone who looks like a COBOL programmer, let me know. You just say, turn around, that's a dinosaur. Right? These are talking about the people who are retiring. And they're compromising on that as well. So let's see what kind of solutions we can provide in this scenario. This is a screen. We can make it like this. Can anybody tell me what screen this is? It's an IDE screen. Eclipse looks like this. Visual Studio looks like this, right? And people who are coming out from the colleges can work on this. So what I'm saying here is COBOL programming can be done on Eclipse IDE and Visual Studio IDE. That is Visual Studio for you. That's our Visual COBOL for you. That's our solution. So you hear anybody who's using COBOL application, trust me, they're living with the challenges. Trust me, they're living with the problem. And we have the right medicine for that, which is Visual COBOL. Development efficiency grows up, skills, organizations, yeah, of course, goes up. And COBOL applications, as we all know, it's on mainframes and also on other modern platforms as well. But by adopting to Visual COBOL, they have solved the hiring problem, the skills problem, everything. They can also introduce new architecture in order to face the new challenges. We saw that balancing act, right? New services, availability, security. They can design new architecture. They can take those applications onto mobile, right? So we have road transport corporations run by state governments. And this is one of a case where I myself had this experience. They had a COBOL application. We were telling them we have a solution if you buy Visual COBOL. He said the end users are bus conductors. Okay, they are used to the number key on the right side to enter how many tickets they sold and what value they sold. He said, don't, I said new interface, that, this, and all. He's like, no, I cannot do it because those guys are used to that and the number keys would have faded. Even then they know where 1 is, where 9 is, right? So they're so good. So I don't want. I said, how about the conductor using his smartphone, which you give it or he owns it, can do it as soon as he goes to the bus depot. He need not have to come to the IT department to enter. That's when his antennas went up. He started listening to it. He didn't even know that this is possible, right? Yeah, and of course it can be taken to cloud, from mainframes, COBOL applications, Greek and Latin, to cloud and mobile platforms with new designed architectures. So that's a bit about COBOL. Terminal emulation. Having spoken about Road Transport Corporation, let me talk about little bit about airlines. This is ATC, right? These guys, they look at screens like this again. The previous screen at least had some red and green in it, but this is just gray. But they do operate on applications like this. Screens are outdated, hardly any functionality, but somehow there are no air crashes. That's not a challenge, but these are the challenges which they are facing every day. They're living with it. Okay. We have a solution, which is, I'm not going to run through the whole slide, but I'm going to just tell you in simple words. The terminal emulation solution, what we have, it's also named as Roomba and Reflection. It can, without doing any changes in the code, it can give a modern interface in the front end, right? So they'll be operating on something like a new age application which is jazzy enough, which is interesting enough to handle that application, which has a major key responsibility of air traffic control. This applies to even shipping industries. It applies to anybody who's having a legacy application which is running in the background and they want to make it more jazzy, because maybe they have hired freshers and they want it jazzy. They want to make that application look like Facebook application. Whenever they want to see an animation of plane landing and plane taking off. So that is something which Roomba and Reflection does. Okay, so we have covered mainframes, we have covered COBOL, we have covered terminal emulation. So this is little bit of a legacy technologies what we have been talking about. Let's talk about some modern technologies. ALM is application lifecycle management, nothing but SDLC. Those who have done engineering can certainly relate to it. SDLC solutions and testing, software testing, automation testing. What are the challenges where what we are seeing in this modern era? Back to front. What is back to front? They capture the requirements, design it, develop and test. When the bugs are found, they try to go back. Shift left is something which is a very common term. They shift left, they try to find where the mistake lies. Was it the business analyst who did that mistake, or was it the developer or the architect or a developer? So 5 years back, I used to get laughs in the room when this picture used to come, but now everybody knows this, what the customer wanted, what the business analyst captured, and what was designed, what was coded, what was tested. What does this lead into? A war room situation, finger pointing. Tester comes with only bugs. We don't know where it came from, right? This, as we speak, in spite of being certified, ISO certified, IEEE certified, we have tools and all of that. When the auditor is there, they have the evaluation version just to show that we are using those practices, and then they're done with it and enter into these kind of situations. So we do have solutions for these guys. Capture the requirement, define the requirement, develop, and then test. These solutions, right from requirement stage, are such that the requirements are treated like objects. They're not treated like lines in a para. If it is, requirements are taken in a Word document, okay, Mr. A does it. A month later, Mr. A quits and goes, Mr. B comes in, he doesn't know if there are been some changes. If there are some changes, why those changes and who made those changes, right? So the solutions what we have are in sync together, right from requirement phase up till testing phase, right? So there is a seamless communication and collaboration amongst all of these key stakeholders in the SDLC and testing life cycle of a software application. Right. So if we have to look at the story, mainframe, we did a DevOps, we did a migration to production of new platforms. COBOL also we modernized through Visual COBOL, and we did some terminal emulation. The front end looks very jazzy, right? And we have taken care of the requirements and testing also very well, right? So this is ready, but what about the security aspect of it, right? Identity, access, and security. People talk about, they call it as IAS, IAM, Identity Access Management, but it is such a, I know there are partners who have joined hands on successful cases in the last year and the previous years also, and we're going to make it big in the next year, but it's really, really complex. For us, it's very important to understand the challenges, and I'm sure whatever challenges are coming up as the nightmare of the CIOs, every one of you would have experienced it yourself. Paper policies, paper forms, no automation. These are the challenges which a CIO or a CTO would face. New employees' access gets delayed. A new employee who joined on a Monday, till Thursday he is reading newspaper. Why? Because he didn't get access. No common identity across organization. Identity is one. Like it's I'm Naveen everywhere, right? That's in generic terms, but that's also very key when it comes to identity management in IT corporations, where it can be any organization where you have to have a common identity. So the challenge is no common identity. Yeah, as I said, ISO certification, IEEE, many of SOX, audit, all of that. There are ghost accounts. There is Naveen at Micro Focus, there is Naveen at SUSE, there is Naveen at MF, ghost accounts. So certification takes a hit. Audit becomes a nightmare, a big nightmare, which goes on for many nights for the CIO. We do not even know who has access to what, whether it's privileged access, whether it is admin access, whether it's a regular end user access, they don't know. And people are playing mischief if at all they have some ideas like that. Help desk is always busy. If the end user is saying that I am not able to log into my laptop, the help desk has come after some time, right? So that's again, it rolls up to the CIO with all of these challenges. There's a need to find a solution to all of this, which we already have since quite a few years. Identity powered security. Identity governance and administration. Set one single identity through our IDAM solutions, right? And give proper access. That identity, if it requires admin access or end user access, and sometimes it so happens that the procurement person at the end of the quarter needs to have certain privileges to go and say, this bill is approved from my side. He plays a little bit of a finance role, but he cannot be given all the time the same role. Otherwise, that leads to corruption. The procurement guy is the same, the finance guy is also the same. That cannot be done, right? But it can be managed very well through our solutions. User activity monitoring. If I always keep this example. If a particular sales guy is downloading the entire customer database from the CRM tool at 3 a.m. in the morning, is something not okay. That does not mean the CIO stares at the dashboard and sees if somebody is doing it. They need a system which can alarm them and to take the needful measures in order to see that such user activity is not happening. Is it an insider who is doing it, or is it somebody who is disguised as an insider and doing it from outside? So our IAS solutions, which is also called as identity governance and administration, access management authentication, and user activity monitoring, all in all under one roof, one umbrella, takes care of all the nightmare aspects of a CIO. Yeah. Collaboration and endpoint management. So security also taken care, element testing was done, security also taken care. Now when it comes to these solutions or these applications or these services which are there in production, how do you do a management of all of that? Again, challenges. VIOD is 3 years back it was not a regular term, but now it is. Everyone wants to get their Mac. Company policy says Dell, but they want Mac. Company policy says BlackBerry, but they want iPhone. What companies do? Bring your own device. But how secure are they? Are they being misused? Because these people have a tendency to connect to Wi-Fi's in railway stations also, right? How secure are they? And a lot of paperwork. Let's say there's a new employee who has joined. He has brought in a dossier with him, which also has his mother's maiden name, okay? And it has details of which branch, which bank and which branch he has account, what's the account number, what was his previous organization, what salary they were giving, everything in a dossier. The HR person takes that dossier, keeps it on the table, goes for coffee. Somebody can have access to that file, right? That's a challenge. Confidentiality goes for a toss. There's a lot of data theft also happening. And can anybody tell me what's the easiest way of finding your colleague's salary? Yeah, go to the printer. You would be taking the printout to give it to the credit card guy who is waiting in the reception. Before you go, before he goes there, you've already gone and seen his salary and act as if you have not seen it, right? So these are also some of the challenges where data theft happens. Let's see what solutions we can provide. When it comes to collaboration, tasks, his or her activity, messaging, telephone, secure file share, discussions, transactions over mobile phone, and printing. All of these activities, we have solutions. I'm not going into, because this is not a product presentation, right? I'm trying to tell you where all we have solutions and can solve what kind of challenges. All of these can be met under one particular portfolio of ours, which can take care of the challenges like confidentiality, data leak, data theft, and all of them with the help of collaboration, endpoint, and network solution and workspace management. Yeah. Workload migration now is the era of the entire. When we say workload, it's an environment, it's a setup. It can have a web server, it can have an app server, it can have a database server, all of that. It's functioning well. The board comes up with a policy that everything has to be migrated to the virtual world, or everything has to be migrated to the cloud, right? How can we do it? What are the challenges when such a policy comes up? And the new policy comes with a rule saying that this has to happen in so and so time, which again can happen only in dreams, which are seen in clouds, right? So and it can also involve, when it comes to data migration, it can also involve taking out the hard disk physically and going and putting it into something else in the data center. People do think of it, and I think they might have tried also. I don't know, I've read about it, but never seen or heard anybody doing it. So those are the challenges. Our solutions, what we have is something called as plate spin migrate. I'm just using the brand name here so that it sits in the mind. Whatever is a workload, right, as is, can be taken from a physical server onto a virtual machine or onto a cloud. It can be any OS. We want it to be SUSE, right? Yeah, Raj, I see a smile on your face, right? So as is, without any hassles, without any dip in the productivity, without any loss of major time, these solutions can migrate workloads as easy as it can be seen and read as well, right? So reduce risk, improved accuracy, shortened deployment time, reduce time to ROI. From within no time, you can go from physical to cloud. I was at this particular event in Mumbai. There was a head of security of a major telecom company in India. He came up to me and he said, yeah, security, everything is fine. I have it's there, it's working fine. What's disaster recovery? What I learned from that is that it can be a way for us, disaster recovery can be a way for us to put our foot into the door, right? If you go to, let's say, Vodafone and try to sell them identity, access and security solutions which are really good and working elsewhere, they'll say, we have those, tell me what else. So this is something, workload migration and disaster recovery is something which can take us inside, to make us put our foot in the door, and then later we can think of cross-selling and upselling them. So what is disaster recovery? Disaster recovery, when it occurs, everyone wants to push that red button, right? That is the challenge what we are seeing. Everybody has plan A, plan B, but they always talk of what is after plan B, because that's the kind of disaster which would have occurred. Solution, business continuity, and our solution gives multiple options to have a proper disaster recovery plan to be executed. We don't help in planning. Plan is already there, but it has to be executed, right? We have something called as plate spin forge and plate spin protect, right? Protect is again disaster recovery solution. Forge is nothing but that disaster recovery solution in a hardware. If somebody says that I have constraints in procuring a hardware, then we give that along with the hardware as well. So that's how flexible we are. When it comes to open source and Linux or OS, what are the challenges? There are so many. Some of them can be downloaded free of cost within no time. But what happens next? What happens next? No support. When the bell rings, they don't know what to do, whom to approach to. The solution what we have: increase uptime, improve operational efficiency, less complexity, open source innovation, bring in innovation, because the workforce which is working today has a lot of ideas which need to be capitalized to be productive, right? And in order to have happy customers, what do we have? Yeah, so Raj, we did have people who are listening in your session. So SUSE is the way to go forward, providing solutions in all of these cases. We also collaborate, as Raj has already said, collaborate with Docker, Ceph, many things which are making it very easy and to be up to the market within no time. Okay, just to put everything in a nutshell: COBOL development and mainframe modernization, right? We call it a CDMS. And under Borland, we have application lifecycle management, that is requirement management, configuration management, and testing coming along with it, which is Silk testing portfolio. Many of you have heard of Borland and Silk. So There you go. And when it comes to attachment, we have Roomba and reflection, the terminal emulation, NetIQ, identity access security, workload migration, and disaster recovery, right? Novel collaboration and networking. We spoke about the confidentiality, taking a toss and all of that. So collaboration and workspace management comes under novel. Last but not the least, Linux operating system and open source. Now we love to call it as enterprise Linux because it's right from desktop up till data center, up till app servers, up till cloud. You mentioned it. I'm sure 40 minutes of session by Raj has certainly enlightened you on what we can do with SUSE as well. So we do have those cards which have something similar. I'll just check with Jayesh and see if it can be shared with you. It gives you a good real snapshot as to what are the different portfolios which we offer, right? So yeah, this slide, Rakshay spoke about it, so I'll just skip it. So we can help the customer reach the destination on time, totally in control of the system, balanced it well, and be highly successful, right? So that's it. That brings me to end of my presentation. I think I did well on the time. Yeah, 30 minutes was my time. So any questions we can certainly, we have today and tomorrow to discuss on the solutions, technicalities, all of that. Happy to discuss with that and answer any questions which is there in your mind, doubts. You might have seen a situation like this, or you might have met somebody senior in an organization who would have mentioned any of these aspects which you saw in my presentation. We do have solution, and that is the place where we have a lot of scope to be successful, right? Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this session. Take care.